Okay, I'm videotaping from from a series of pictures I have put on my computer. Now this was when, these two big white things are what film crew directors use to get the lighting just right on their subject. And this is inside my room. And the film crew that I talked about that came to interview me for that documentary that they're making about Peace Pilgrims, people that were influenced by her, I'm one of them. Or they were filming me in my room, sitting in a chair by my bed. But this was a picture I took of their lights. And see in the closet there's my dog. And we filmed until really late into the night, into the wee hours of the morning. And they have to have everything so quiet because, you don't want any train noises, which a train came by every 30 minutes, and blows its horn 3 times at 3 different crossings real close to me. But if it wasn't the train making a noise, it was my dog here falling asleep and moaning. We would have to kind of kick at him a little bit to wake him up so he would quit moaning, because that was interfering with the filming. But it was really interesting. I never thought anyone cared that much about the things I had to say. I talked for over 10 hours. And of course they'll just cut little pieces of it. And we see this door here? At one time the film director needed to sit right here, but he needed the door shut. Well, there just wasn't room for him to sit once the door was shut. It made him such a small space that we took the door off its hinges. Now, let's see what the next picture is. Oh, that's my dog in the closet. I took the door off my closet because opening it out into a little room, that door took up so much room. So I just hung some beads. And there's another view. Right here we put a chair where I've got this little thing pointing that I sat in. So this area right here was a background for one of the views they had of me. And now I know what an actor feels when they say, the lights are hot. They do get hot after a while. And I showed them all the things in my room, like this little thing right here, and this little version of an atom that I made. It's also the vector equilibrium and the flower of life in that. And this is before we took the door off. And that's the film director. It had so many boxes of things. And then we filmed in the living room, and I had all my little glass things that you can look at the shiny part on. And here's my light right here. You can't see it very well, but it's kind of right there against that curtain. You can see its outline. When all the lights are dark and just that one light's on, and you sit on the couch over here and use these various glass objects to catch the light off of, then you get some very amazing orbs. But if you only use marbles, round things, you'll get round orbs. But when you use other shapes, like a wine glass or a candle holder that's made of glass, there's any number of glass objects out there to be found. Go to your thrift stores and you'll find them by the dozens, and they're not that expensive. Anyone can do this. They need that light, a little LED light. They need some glass objects, and they need a digital camera. Anyway, this book of light, that's where I've got a lot of pictures that I made hard copy of from going to Walmart and getting some of these pictures. Now this is an orb that I took outside. You can see the trees. And this is when some people see a picture like this, they said, well, you made that orb be there. We want an orb that just of its own showed up and you didn't even know it was going to be there. And surprise, surprise, it's visiting you. And they think more of an orb like that. Well, those are special. That is special when that happens. There's no doubt about that. But because I induced the orb to be there by filming it the way I do, means I am in communication. I am another light being communicating with the light that I see in this manner. And there's nothing wrong with that. And they called it man-made. I said, well, light's not a man. We don't make the light. We are the light. Now there's where I sit at my computer, and there's the director. And he's getting things set up. He had so many cameras. Oh, he has some very sophisticated equipment. And then we went out to eat at this Texas, Rudy's it's called. This guy had never been to a barbecue place in Texas that is like this one. And he wanted to eat meat, but the other director, Kashiar, he was a vegetarian. So he ate the cream corn and coleslaw. And Graham here, he just really piled on the meat. He couldn't even eat that entire sandwich. He had to let some of it go. I had so much fun being there with them. I hardly ever go out with two nice looking guys and do something like this. And there was this sign right here I'm pointing to. It says, "Your mother isn't with you, so clean up your own mess." They thought that was so funny. There they are again. These are the two that filmed me for 10 hours at least. Now, I hope that they will, when they make the documentary, find more of their stuff all packed up. But I hope that they will. And they came with all that stuff in this little small car. And look, when I was taking pictures of them, orbs were in the sky. See the orbs all around? And it wasn't a rainy night, it was dry. And then I showed the house in this picture, and look at all the orbs here. They're all over the place. Well, I'm going to just go through, I'm just going to end this right here, this part about them, and then show you some orbs again. Now, what I'm hoping that the documentary that they are making will do, this is my projection, is to introduce more people to the idea of we're looking at another dimension of light that maybe has never been filmed before quite like this. And I hope it comes to the attention of those who can research it better than me, who have the equipment, who have the know-how, and also who have the openness of looking into it long enough to realize it's not just an artifact of the camera. It's not just something that marbles show up in them. You know, all those little excuses people have to say, oh, I'm not going to bother with looking at this. This woman's crazy. I tell you, I've filmed thousands of these now, no two alike, and it is ever able to amaze and astonish me, some of the pictures I'm getting of the movement of light. And to think about the movement of light, you're thinking about the movement of energy, because energy is light. And energy makes anything be what it is. So, let me go back and see if I can find something else to show you, because I have quite a lot of more minutes here. Let's see, I should do this one, a lot of outdoor orbs. Okay, let me focus in a little better. Sometimes orbs aren't centered when I take their picture because I have to snap it before it goes away, so I try to center things. Okay, this is in the backyard. When I take a picture of the sun, now I don't have a glass I'm filming off of. The sun just has these 9 big balls that are red. There'll be 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 here. You don't see them, but some views of the light show them. And I see that off of my light that's in my room. Those 9 pinkish orbs around the light. may be hard to believe, but we're entering into a part of the universe, I think, where the cosmic rays are different than anything we've seen before. And it would be wise to pay attention to it. Now this one has the 9. You see sort of 3 of them at the top and 3 of them at the bottom, but you don't see the 3 that are in the middle. And then there's this violet color that's in a lot of the videos. I mean, a lot of the orb pictures. Some of the orbs I take pictures of are this pretty dull, golden, brownish color. But I like them all, whether they're brightly colored or not. Now, this is in the backyard, and there's three of the red, pinkish-like spots of color show up real good. And then there's something right there. It looks like even another row of them. And see? You can get orbs to show up over your grass. At first I thought they wouldn't be very colorful, and these aren't, but I have managed lately to take pictures. This is a dog walking away, and it's Jack, and he never minds me. I wanted to put an orb right over his head, but what does he do? Turns around and takes off. He just would not cooperate. These are all pretty transparent kind of orbs here. So you can see the trees right through these orbs. And see this violet color? That could be that rod that comes down from the sun or from a light in the room. But there is a violet fire that is talked about by some of the Ascended Masters as being a ray, a particular ray that has healing in it. And it's supposed to be Saint Germain's in charge of that ray. And if you know anything about Ascended Masters, you know who I'm talking about there. These are all taken outdoors, all these next few pictures. And see, this is the sun going down over kind of behind the house, and you see that violet color there. Comes across on this video as sort of purple, but it's really violet. And it's important that you take pictures of the sun, because the sun is revealing a lot to us. These orbs, you see them there? They come right out of the rays of the sun and start forming this orb, which starts getting all this pattern of colors and designs in them. And after they get out, they're teardrop shaped when they're right there. But once they get out a little further, they're more round. I kept taking a picture of the sun going down and those pinkish spots all around it. I'll go through these rather fast. I forget why these were so bright. Okay, this is from inside my sacred circle, looking back at the house and taking a picture of the sun as it was going down. Okay, I think I'm back to doing some that I've already done. So I will end this video for now, and I will take even more pictures, because it's like eating a potato chip. You can't eat just one. I keep taking pictures of orbs, and I keep looking at them with the naked eye as well. And I will share with you something that has happened that's different, that I'm finding that I see with the naked eye. When I lay back in my bed with the light shining over me in a dark room, but this one LED light shining over toward me, it's like I were looking at a laser light show, especially when I squeeze my eyes shut and focus just a little bit of the light to come in. Then it's like fireworks that went off in the air but stayed there. They didn't go away like fireworks do. And it's sort of like a laser light show too. But recently, the most recent thing that really astonished me was when I had the light on like that the other night, and I wasn't squinting my eyes. I opened them real wide and looked up above my nose. Put it that way, you look up. And in my peripheral view were twinkling little bright spots of light, just twinkling here and there, and there must have been a dozen or so of them. But I could not look at one directly, because when I would try to look at it directly, it went out. But when I would just look up and not look off to the right or left, or not directly look at them, but let them remain in my peripheral view, I was learning to look at something I couldn't really directly look at, but still to try to see it in my peripheral view, and I got better at being able to see it that way as I practiced it. Sometimes we can't look at something directly, because when we do, we lose the view of it, because it only shows up when we look at it that way, where it's just on the outskirts of what we can see. And it made me feel so good. It's like I was in a room with a laser light show going on, and the fireworks coming out, and the colors in those streams of light as they come out are always moving and making patterns, and sometimes even little orbs in them. And then when I opened my eyes real wide and I saw all the sparkly things up high and where I couldn't see them good if I don't look directly at them, that was a first for me that night that I saw that. It's like, wow, where is this taking me? Where is this going? It evolves. The light is evolving me in my abilities to see it. And I hope in my ability to understand what I'm seeing to some degree. I don't have to understand all the ins and outs. But if there's some kind of communication that I could have from it, I think it would be not only beneficial for me alone, but for everyone. Because light is information, and light is energy, and light is what we're made of. And light has a storehouse in it, I think, of everything that has ever been thought of that you can draw from. I think it's what the masters draw from when they bring something out of the thin air. You know, when they bring a loaf of bread, if that's what's needed, and then it's a loaf of bread that people can eat. Some of the masters of the Far East talked of being able to put a seed in the ground and cover it with dirt, and before they even raised up to stand up, it already had grown into a tree bearing fruit. And I thought, wow, we wouldn't have a problem with enough food. Everybody could have these seeds and grow what they need and have it right away. You can think these kind of thoughts. Don't think this is foolishness until you start thinking of something. It's no possibility of its manifestation, but more people thinking of something like this, and it does manage to come into our 3D world. Now, the ones who were the best prophets of what would be, with the highest percent of accuracy, have been the science fiction writers, because they made their science fiction a form of entertainment. Enough people watched it and thought, oh yes, that would be a good little invention. And before you know it, we have that invention. It's and even gone beyond what they imagined. because we're creating so many gadgets these days and electronic things, and there's so much that even if you just think, I would like it to do this, that before you know it, there's one that does exactly that thing that you thought you would like to see it do. So do not be afraid to imagine that from the light we can draw an infinite source of things that people need. For one thing, we need the energy. And a lot of people who love Tesla's idea that he would like to give free energy to the world, but some of the people like J.P. Morgan, they wanted to be able to charge you for this so they could make a bundle of money. More than a bundle, they could drown in the money they made. They made so much money. And the oil barons of today even stifle inventions that give us free electricity. They own the patents, they bought the people out, or maybe even snuffed them out. Who knows? They would do anything to keep their money rolling in. But not to hate them, but to know that the answer isn't that we're going to have a physical device and an invention that they can come and steal from us or quiet us about. We're going to bring it out with our thoughts, our knowingness, our mind will bring it forth. The masters of the Far East, the researchers that went over there and investigated them, everywhere these men went, whether it was inside of a rock temple cut into a mountain that would normally be dark passages and walkways and rooms, they would be filled with light, but there was no thing they ever saw that gave forth that light like a lamp or a torch or anything. It was there, and the warmth was there. The light and the warmth was there because the masters knew how to do that. They knew how to know, and their knowing made it so. And if we have that today, if we develop our potency of love in us, nobody will be able to threaten us, because we won't really be so needy for oil and gas to run our cars. We might even not need gasoline because we can teleport. All kinds of things we can do. So don't think of the future like, oh, there's not enough. There is an overabundance of everything needed if we knew how to tap into it. So we don't know yet, but we can certainly start visualizing it and doing sort of what the science fiction writers did, introduce the idea to others until enough people think about it and its possibility, and boom, there it is. It'll show up in our 3D world. And things do get better. They don't get worse. We're not going to have the Armageddon-like scenario that a lot of fundamentalists have been preaching and talking about and making videos about, showing such a horrible future that they imagine based on their idea of their interpretation of the scriptures. So you can listen to that if you want to scare yourself. I've listened to a few of them, but anymore all I do is laugh at what they think. I mean, I was looking at one the other day, and they were like trying to get you to believe it's the Chinese who are going to be the ones God uses to come at us and kill a lot of us in the Armageddon-like days. So I guess they're trying to get us to hate the Chinese. When I was young, it was the Russians. The Russians are coming, and everybody was afraid of the Russians, when if they knew the truth, the ordinary Russian citizen was no different than you or I, and had no plans to come and take us over. So don't buy into all that, because all it'll do is scare you and make you less productive, and then your thoughts won't be potent enough to bring anything about. Your thoughts are what empower you or disempower you. So watch the thoughts you think and make them good ones. And like Jesus said, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, speak on these things. Okay, I'm about to run out of battery here, so I better end this. This is the Dove Lady, over and out for now.